Hello YouTubes, what is up? Welcome back to another video. It is your boy Strem, and we're here with a little bit of a different video today. This is another draft analysis for the Halifax Hitmonchan. As you know, the Halifax Hitmonchan was a coach was a team, and I was a coach in the IBA Season 1. Ultimately, the season didn't end up going that well. We lost our first playoff match in the first round, but I really had a ton of fun with IBA Season 1, and I think we got better as the season went on. I think you guys noticed that. It was my first ever draft league, so I'm really excited for this and Season 2. We decided to do Season 1.5 as a bridge between Season 1 and 2, and this is actually a randomized draft, so it went a little differently. I'll get into explaining what happened and all that as the video goes on. But we also added 2 coaches, taechichu and QTheCostaRican. So they're coming in for Season 1.5, and for Season 2, we're adding 2 additional coaches on top of that too. So lots to look forward to for the IBA draft content for sure. So the way this draft worked is nobody actually picked a mon. We just went through and we used a randomized wheel for each tier. And you just kind of got fed your draft team, which was really cool. I don't think this has ever been done before, so it was super exciting. We all hopped on a Discord call and we just spun the wheel and see whatever you landed on. So the way we did it was a little differently than IBA Season 1 as well, where we split up all the Pokemon into tiers, the Smogon tiers, where we had every team has a Gigantamax captain. We have 1 Uber, which is like a legendary or above OU, banned from OU, but the key difference here is you cannot use a held item on your Uber Pokemon. So it kind of levels out the playing field. They're not so OP because other mons can have held items. We have 3 OU mons, 3 UU mons, and 3 RU mons. So if you're not familiar with the Pokemon tiers, OU is like the max tier, just below Uber, which is banned. UU is just below OU, and then RU is below UU. So it's kind of like S, A, and B tier mons. And then every Gigantamax mon was only Gigantamax, so no Dynamaxing at all. It was only mons that could Gmax. I guess the only other rule was that you had 3 rerolls, so if you ended up with a team of all one type, you could choose which mons to reroll, and you also had 1 trade. So I'll go through explaining each of our mons, and then we can get a little further into it. So first roll, our Gmax captain is Gigantamax Lapras, which I thought was really fun, a really good pick. Ultimately, I first drafted Duraludon or whatever you want to say as our Gmax captain, which would have been great, but our team actually got screwed in the first 5 or 6 rounds. We had 5 or 6 steel types, so I couldn't really stick with Duraludon at the end of the day. I ended up re-rolling it for the Lapras, and I'm actually really happy we got Lapras now. It fits with our team really well, but originally we did have Duraludon as our Gmax captain. For our Uber, we ended up rolling Solgaleo. Obviously, there were a ton of great options for Ubers. I ended up rolling Zekrom, I think, first, and then I used my second reroll to try to get Mewtwo. I really wanted Mewtwo as an Uber. I thought it would have been super sick. Everybody wanted Mewtwo, let's be honest. But I ended up with Solgaleo, which, again, was another steel type at the time. But I kept Solgaleo. He's Psychic Steel. He's going to be really fun, like Sun, Steel, Strike, and all that. High physical attack, pretty high speed. He's going to be awesome to use. I can't see us not bringing him a lot of the weeks. So yeah, pretty overall happy with that, although I wanted Mewtwo, but it is what it is. Next up in our OU tier, we had Terrakion, we had Togekiss, and we had Rotom Heat. So what's interesting about these is I actually used my 3rd reroll. We had originally Aegislash and Excadrill, which would have been 4 steel types. So I used 1 reroll on Aegislash. I ended up with the Terrakion, which is awesome. Terrakion is a legendary. He's rock fighting, which is cool, and he's great. We did randomly draft Togekiss, which is great for us. Flying Fairy, definite type variation, very bulky, high special attack, things like that. I've never really used a competitive Togekiss before, but I know it's definitely an OU, awesome mon to have. And then we have Rotom Heat. So Rotom Heat was replaced with Excadrill. We actually did a trade with RebelTrainer. He wanted the Excadrill for the Steel Ground type, and I really needed a Fire type, so super happy to have Rotom Heat and Togekiss. They're a great combo tandem together in competitive Pokemon, so really, really happy that our OU tier worked out like this, and we're not jammed with Steel types like we would have been if I just kept the whole thing. So that's our OU tier. Next, in UU, we have Rotom Wash, so we're kind of like a Rotom trainer, which is interesting to have both the Rotoms. Also very powerful to have 2 Rotoms on your team. With the levitate ability, they're both weak to ground, but the levitate ability makes them avoid ground moves. So they're really, really powerful. I've never used a Rotom Wash before. I really hate fighting against Rotom Wash, so I think it's going to be awesome to interchange between those two or even use them in the same 6-team squad. The type variation is great. They're both electric types as well. Obviously very powerful. You know, Hydro Pump from Rotom Wash. They have bulk. They just have great overall base stats. They're very similar to legendaries themselves. Just had to sip my bubbly water. Sorry about that. I'm drinking Pamplemousse today. And then finally in our UU tier, we had Torkoal. Torkoal is a hazard setter. He can set the Sun if I wanted to run a Sun team, which I'm not really sure I do, because Sun would wreck our Steel types. Torkoal sets Stealth Rocks. He's very bulky, physically bulky. You can do some cool stuff with him. I just think he's you know, he is what he is. I'm not super excited about Torkoal, but you know, we might be able to see room for him. I'm not sure if he ever really outclasses Rotom Heat as a fire type, but again, if we want to set those Stealth Rocks, he's there. Also, we drafted Cobalion in UU. Cobalion is steel fighting, so he's another legendary dog from Terracion's stuff. So that would have been our 6th steel type had we kept everybody, but I did want to keep Cobalion. I've never used one. He's very strong for UU, I think. He can also set Stealth Rocks. He's very physically offensive, and again, another fighting type in case we don't want to go with Terrakion. I think he's definitely outclassed by Terrakion, but can do a lot of cool things as well. So we have a lot of options. I was ultimately happy with our UU tier as well. I would have changed Torkoal if I had another reroll, but ultimately I wanted to use the reroll to get our type variation up. And finally, in our RU tier, we have Runerigus, which is funny. We ended up drafting Runerigus in Season 1 and then dropping him before we ever used him. Another Stealth Rock setter, our only ground type, which is really great. Also our only ghost type. So we can actually find a lot of use from him. Very high physical defense, very high physical attack. He can do a lot of cool things. Again, the ghost typing is very good. Ground typing is good to be immune to electric. Things like that. So we definitely seeing a lot more use for Runerigus than I did when I drafted him in Season 1. In Season 1, we had Corsola on our team as well, so the problem with that was we had 2 ghost types, and I just think Galarian Corsola outclasses Runerigus, where in this case, we can find some use for him. We also drafted Girder, so Girder is the pre-evolution to Conkeldurr. He's very interesting. He has a Guts ability, although we pretty much have to stick the Eviolite on him to make him worth anything. So that makes him decently bulky. I mean, not amazing. It is our 3rd fighting type, but he is Soul fighting type. So if we ever found the Rock and Steel to be too much, we could go to Girder. He carries also Mach Punch, Drain Punch, things that Terrakion and Cobalion don't carry. So we can definitely find a use for him with the Eviolite. I've never used a Girder competitively. I've seen him used before though. Even though he's RU. And then finally we have a Alolan Persian, which is very interesting and probably another mon I would have re-rolled. It is one of our only answers to ghost types at this moment. He does some pretty cool things, like he gets Parting Shot, his ability, Fur Armor I think it's called, doubles his physical defense. So he has a terrible physical defense stat, but because of that ability it's actually doubled and it becomes pretty respectable and bulky. You know, there's all sorts of things. He doesn't have terrible physical attack, and again, the dark typing is good to counter ghost types. So we might see ghost and psychic types. So there are some things that we could use him for. I don't know if I'll be the best at using Alolan Persian. It's something I've never really thought about, but still unique. So anyway, this is our team. I'm pretty excited. I think we have quality mons. Again, it was all randomized, so everybody has random teams like this. Everybody has an Uber, and some really scary stuff. So it was super interesting to do. This season will start, I think, a week from this upcoming Saturday. So I don't know the date, but the Saturday a week after the coming Saturday. That's the only way I can really say it because I don't know the date. And then this will go all the way up until Season 2. We're not going to have a playoffs or anything. We're just going to have a winner. Everybody's going to play everybody and then determine a winner after that. This goes right up to Season 2. Season 2 of the IBA, our actual draft league, where we have to make our own teams and not just have them randomized for us, is coming out shortly after the expansion for Sword and Shield. So the first expansion date is mid-June, so it'll be around then. Like I said, we just wanted to do something fun to fill the gap, and I think this is really interesting and something that hasn't really been done before, and I'm excited to use this team, man, especially Solgaleo. It just kind of lights up. Again, I wish it was Mewtwo. The Gen 1er that I am wishes it was Mewtwo, but we actually do not have a Gen 1 Pokemon on this team aside from Lapras, but it's G-Max, and there was no G-Max in Gen 1. So that's going to be it. Just wanted to give you guys an update. Also, we have some cool things coming in the works with, we're going to do a co-op Nuzlocke or a versus Nuzlocke. I'm not going to give too many details about that yet because I want it to be a surprise, but there is going to be another Nuzlocke series happening on the channel. And then hopefully I can find some time to do some other cool content that I've been really wanting to do for a while but haven't got a chance. So if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like, comment what you think of the team. I really want to know what you guys think of the 1.5 Hitmonchan. No Hitmonchan on the team this time, but we are repping 3 fighting types. And subscribe, of course, if you are new, so you can check out all of Season 1.5 from our perspective. Thank you very much. I love you guys. Peace.